Hi guys, how's it going? Caitlin here and welcome to my kitchen for another week of meal prep. We go gluten-free in three meals, pretty well fully prepped, so you are just ready to go for the week. It's amazing how much it can reduce your stress. Now, if you don't have a prep list, grab your prep list. You can check the description in the video for links where you can download your prep list. And what are we making this week? We are going to have pad thai, sweet sesame chicken, and tater tot casserole. So if that sounds good to you, sounds good to me, and let's get going, shall we? So I've got three levels of prep. Three levels of prep based on your level of motivation. If you do want to get the time to table results that you see in the outline, then you're going to want to do all three steps. And you can do more if you want to. Don't let me stop you. If you see something else that you can get done and you can reduce a little bit of work on yourself later on in the week, you go to town and you get it done. So I am going to start by thinly slicing one pepper, doesn't matter what color. Really, like, when I see specific colors for peppers in a recipe, I'm like, really? I'm just gonna get a mixed pack of peppers and use whatever there is. So if you want specific colors to make it look pretty, you go right ahead. I do like sometimes having mixed colors in it. So if you get a few peppers going on for a few different recipes, you know, have a red one and a green one and go like Christmas style. Uh-oh, dog's about to bark. Got a delivery coming, I think. I have an adorable Bernedoodle. She thinks that she is a great guard dog. She looks an awful lot like a Muppet, but I mean, she weighs close to 100 pounds, so she's a hefty Muppet. And I'm safe once again, you guys. Do not worry, the Bernedoodle has kept me safe. You can make this as thin or as thick as you want it to be. Thin will make it cook faster, and if faster is the goal, then go for it. You will also find that it is easier to cut thinner more safely if you have a super sharp knife. This super sharp knife right here is a Santoku. It is my personal favorite. Some people will prefer a chef's knife. Probably people who know what they're doing more than I do prefer a chef's knife, but for me it's all about the Santoku. Yeah, that's what we're going with. That's what I'm standing by. Okay, so I've got one pepper sliced, ready to go. Next, I'm taking a shortcut. Guys, we're gonna be doing if you're making an Asian slaw this week, it's an optional add-on. I think it's gonna go delicious with the sesame chicken. You can shred up some cabbage right now and shred up a carrot, or you can buy a bag of coleslaw mix that's already cabbage and carrot and have it all shredded up already. That's what I did. You know what? We choose our spots where we take a shortcut, and for me, coleslaw is one of them. I don't know why, it's just one of those things for me. So I am taking that shortcut. I am going to thinly slice up some more pepper, and you know what, I'm just gonna throw it all. I'm gonna throw that in the same container as the other one. And I am going to thinly slice up, instead of just half the pepper, I'm gonna do the full pepper, and then I'm gonna put some extra in my pad thai, right? You can always sneak a few more veggies in pad thai. Like, it's one of those recipes if you have, because veggies go good in a pad thai. If you have some leftover veggies from last week and you want to incorporate it into a meal, or you get a little leftover from something else that you're making this week, look at that pad thai recipe. Look at it and think, how's this gonna go in there? Would this taste all right in there? And odds are it will. It's one of those very forgiving recipes. do find that meal planning, it lets you be very conscientious about what you have in your fridge, because you're in a mind space where you're prepping at this time, right? Like that's where our mind is. Our mind is prepping for the week ahead. You're doing a great thing for yourself right now. You're gonna feel very, very good when this is all done. However, once it comes to supper time throughout the week, we are in a mad rush to get our things done. We're tired, we're exhausted, we're mentally exhausted. We've been working all day, and it's just a completely different headspace. So use this prep headspace that you have going on right now and think, oh, do I got something I can use that with? And if you do, throw it in. So speaking of headspace, oh, there's my lid. Like, once upon a time I had a lid for this, and then I found it. Crisis averted, everybody. Crisis averted. Okay, next. I am going to chop a pepper and chop an onion. If you wanted a shortcut for this one, you could. You could get a bag of already chopped onion and already chopped peppers, and you could just go that route instead. I'm just quickly going to get this chopped. And then I'm gonna chop the onion, and that will save me from buying a frozen bag of vegetables that I already have. Like, to me, in my house anyway, I find peppers and onions are like staples. They're just always here. I'm not gonna buy a bag of frozen ones when these are always here. However, you totally could. Or you could make your own bags of frozen veggies if you want. Take a look at when things are on sale. Chop them up, portion them out, and freeze them, right? You can save yourself a heck of a lot of money by buying and then freezing if you want to. Just gonna make sure that you remember to actually use it, because sometimes freezers end up a place where you store a lot of very good intentions, and we don't want that. We want it to be stuff that you're actually going to use and make use of, and cut down your grocery bills so you can spend money on other things that are nice and pretty. Now, why did I chop the pepper by hand and then this with this? Because honestly, I prefer chopping my pepper, but I don't really like crying over the onions. So I use this, my Pampered Chef food chopper. And this thing is a little workhorse in the kitchen. Does so many things. Chops all the things that I don't feel like chopping. And I like that. One onion, one pepper, nice and chopped and ready to go for the Tater Tot Casserole. So what do we got next? Guys, that was it for level 1. Okay, awesome. If level 1 is all the gumption that you got, you are good to go. Congratulations, you have prepared some veggies and you should be feeling awesome about yourself because you're awesome. If you still have more gas in the tank, then let's go for level 2 and let's go create some cheese, shall we? So, recipe calls for Monterey Jack cheese. We've made it with marble, we did not die. We are still alive to tell the tale, so you can use whatever you want, whatever works for your family. If you want some extra spice, you could use Monterey Jack, like whatever. You can use whatever you want. Don't let anybody tell you how to do your cheese. And if you're dairy free, well, you can skip this step. I'm dairy free myself, and I can tell you the Tater Tot Casserole works great, even if you do not have cheese in it. I actually have like these long loaf pans that I use when I'm doing things like casseroles where it's cheesy and not cheesy. So these long loaf pans, they work like when you put them together, like a 9x13 casserole dish, which is of course the most common casserole dish that you'd be making the Tater Tot casserole in. Anyway, I can mix up most of the things and do the meat and veggies and stuff like that, and I just portion it into these 2 long loaf pans. Then I add cheese to one, and I don't add cheese to the other. So then I know that I have mine that does not have cheese. Other people eat mine too that does not have cheese, because you know what? It still tastes delicious. They're still gonna eat it. Never heard a word of complaint about it. So about 2 cups of cheese. However, if you live in a household where it's partial cheese eaters and partial non-cheese eaters, like, consider long loaf pans. They are magical for doing it, and it decreases the stress and the work and the math and all the things. Anything that takes out the math is going to be something that is good. Okay, there we go. So, got our cheese ready. Now, I want to crush up some nuts. I'm going to use my food chopper to do it. I'm just giving it a quick rinse. You could use, actually, yeah, we're gonna do this. So I want to crush up some nuts. I do want some nuts for my slaw as well, so I'm going to take 3/4 cup. So just some roasted peanuts is what I'm using. You could use cashews. You could use whatever kind of nuts you have. Just throw them into a plastic baggie, or in this case it's a reusable silicone baggie. And if you have a rolling pin, use a rolling pin. If you have like a meat crusher or something, you can use a meat tenderizer, especially if it's got a flat end. And you could just, you know, crush them nuts. Okay, so I got my nuts fairly crushed up. Those are good. Good to go. Wonderful. So I am going to mix the glaze for the sweet sesame chicken, okay? If you guys are with me. So let's see. We're gonna do a quarter cup of either honey or maple syrup. I'm gonna use maple syrup. I'm using maple syrup because I got a baby. So the baby can't do honey for the first year, of course. So I just swap out to maple syrup for that. No big deal. Nice and easy. Honey, let's see. We need some soy sauce, 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna switch to this liquid measure. This liquid measuring cup comes in a set, actually. It's the whole set. So it's called an Easy Read measuring cup, and the reason they call it Easy Read is all the numbers, don't know if you can see them, they're all right on the inside there. And the way that this is angled, I don't have to do, you know, when you're measuring liquids and you kind of doing the up and down and up and down and up and down squat dance to make sure that it's level. This one you don't have to. You just stand like a human. You don't squat down, and you can get an accurate measurement just standing up and measuring to the line. It sounds like such a tiny little thing, but it's one of those tiny little things that makes all the difference in the world, and it just feels good. This little measuring cup in particular, I find very, very, very useful for measuring liquids. Like, so I'm gonna put in a little rice vinegar there. We have a couple Asian inspired sauces this week, so this is kind of handy because you have all the ingredients out that you're gonna need, and you're gonna use them a few times in a few different combinations. Sesame oil. Ginger, I need to make some ginger. Okay. So if you want to, you can use a zester to do your ginger. You could use dry if you wanted, but I find dry just never has as much flavor or impact as fresh. Fresh is always good. You could do yourself a shortcut by buying already minced ginger in a jar, but I'm gonna use my food chopper on the ginger too, just to make it small and just measure it out, and it keeps it easy, but it keeps it fresh too. I love everything about fresh ginger. Smell, taste, it just adds good things. And it's super good for you too, so. I saw a thing once, make it sound like it's really smart. I saw a reel once, and it was about challenging yourself to have like 25 different fresh foods a day, which I thought, well, that sounds like a lot. But then it was talking about, it was incorporating like herbs and seasonings, you know, counted. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm doing like ginger or something like that, that would count, and made it seem much more manageable. Let's just not spill that. Here we go. Got my ginger already. So this recipe, I'm going to be using a tablespoon. And I'll use a fairly generous tablespoon because I like it. So there we go. And 2 cloves of garlic. If you have little cloves of garlic, you want to use more. Say you can measure garlic with your heart, and I agree. And I know garlic doesn't agree with some people, but if it doesn't agree with you, find something else to put in instead if you wanted to. I know some people who do not get along with garlic can do infused garlic oil instead. Doesn't have, what is it? I don't know if it's medium or long chain triglycerides, something like that. Don't quote me on that. There's medium and long chain something that can affect your digestion, make it harder to digest garlic. It can make people feel sick or gassy. Anyway, that is avoided by using an infused oil, which is why an infused oil will work for some people, even if garlic will not. So if you miss the flavor and you don't like the feeling, consider an infused oil. See if that works for you. 2 cloves of garlic. Let's see, 1 teaspoon of chili paste, just optional, just if you want a little, you know, a little heat. I'm gonna put in half, because my kids might not like the heat as much as I do, but I can always add a little extra to mine, and that'll be fine. And let's see, a teaspoon of tapioca starch. any of this quick mix. I'll put a lid on it, and then that's gonna go, oops, that's gonna go in the fridge for my sesame glaze. Oh. And that's it. If you are just going for level 2, then you have done it. You have done awesome, and you have done so much work. You're gonna love yourself this week. If you still have more gas in the tank, let's move on to level 3, shall we? So there's some optional ones in level 3. So you may have bought yourself, you may be skipping the slaw altogether in case you may have skipped some of the stuff with the previous steps, and that's okay. You can do that. I just thought it was a great way to use up some of the bean sprouts that might be left over from your pad thai, but if you have another way that you plan on using them, awesome. But if you're going along and you're making the slaw, we can do that now. So I want some lime juice. I'm gonna start off by making dressing for the slaw. So, just gonna juice myself a lime. You could use bottled lime juice if you wanted to. I had fresh here, and well, fresh is just always good. So, oh my goodness, that smells good. You never beat fresh, right? So if you're making your food at home and you're doing yourself this courtesy, treat yourself with the little things. And it's funny, the little things that make me feel super pampered making food at home, it is literally like having fresh lime juice or having fresh herbs. So that's exactly 2 tablespoons. So that worked out well. But if treating myself is treating myself to fresh herbs and fresh lime juice, there's no reason not to treat myself. When you look at it in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, but it makes all the difference. Okay, I'll get off my grandstanding soapbox there. So, rice vinegar. So, a tablespoon of rice vinegar. I want some honey or maple syrup and sesame oil. What else? I want some ginger. Oh, and once again, I want a little more soy sauce. Always make sure it's gluten-free, or I use coconut aminos because I also cannot do soy. No soy, no dairy, no gluten. It is like just the most fabulous trifecta. If you know, you know, because it feels like one of those 3 things is in everything. But you really can still make delicious things at home, even if you're limited when you go out to eat, I promise you. And if you're new to this, oh, by the way, dressing done. See, nice and easy. That's gonna be a quick like throw together at the time. Yeah, if you're new to this diet, it feels really restrictive, it will get better. I promise you it does get better. It's always a little challenging when you go to eat, but other than that, it does get better. All right, so I'm gonna mix up some pad thai sauce. And honestly, I'm just gonna throw it in one of these containers. So let us see, shall we? Okay, I need some nut butter. You could use cashew butter, you can use, I'm using peanut butter. Any one of these you can use, it's all good. So, half a cup. Yep, you could use almond butter, sun butter, any kind of butter. It'll all change the flavors just a little bit, but that's variety. It's, I don't think it's a bad change. My dog's gonna love that peanut butter on the floor. You know, she's such a good dog. She's not even like under my feet, picking up everything that I drop. I have not done everything right in life, but I trained that dog right. That went well. We congratulate ourselves on the little things. Okay, that's good enough for me. So, half cup peanut butter, nut butter, any kind of butter. I'm feeling a little sticky. Oh well, I'm just gonna keep on mixing this up. So I need an inch of ginger, which I'm just gonna say that's this. Close enough. I mean, who determines an inch of ginger anyway? Good enough. Then we're gonna go 3 tablespoons of water. Just 1 second here. And juice of half a lime. I'm gonna take another lime here. And a handy dandy citrus press. If you're gonna treat yourself to the limes, get yourself a nice citrus press. That's important because you can't treat yourself to the limes and then waste all the lime juice. You need one that really juices. Whatever you use. I use Pampered Chef. You could use whatever kind you're feeling, whatever kind you like. I like this one just because it really it leaves almost nothing behind. I never feel like I'm wasting. I get lots of juice out of it. Gonna use more coconut aminos. See, a lot of the same ingredients, just switched around a little bit, and they make completely different flavors. Just, I find it amazing. Let's see. Need some more maple syrup or honey. Just a touch, very little touch. And sesame oil. Get ourselves another clove of garlic in here. Once again, if you want more, measure with your heart, listen to your heart. It will never lead you astray. There we go. And chili flakes. If you want chili flakes, throw in some chili flakes. If you don't want chili flakes, do not throw in chili flakes. I'm just gonna throw in a few. Probably top mine with more after because I have kids who are not a fan of the heat, not as much as I am. Gonna mix this all together. And this is so much cheaper than buying a jar of pad thai sauce. And you'll just be able to dump this whole thing. It's a lot cheaper. Why not? Save money. You know what's in it. It's fresh ingredients. There's nothing like weird and wonky in it. Beautiful. So that's just gonna make things really easy on ourselves because we're just gonna be able to put together supper, just dump, 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 and then it's good to go. Now, there are some other things that you could decide to do right now if you wanted. The last thing I'm gonna do is slice up some chicken for the pad thai. But if you were feeling really ambitious and you wanted to, you could decide to cook your onion and your pepper and your sausage. You could cook that all together, but then you're putting a timeline on it. Then you got to make sure that you're using it within 3 to 4 days, right? Or putting it in the freezer. Always be conscious of that with your meat. If you got to put it in the freezer for a couple days, that's fine. But just make sure that you know when you're looking at it, right? That you can plan ahead for it. It's all about the planning right now. Got ourselves in our planning mindset. All right, last thing I'm gonna do is slice up some chicken for the pad thai. And I'll always do the slicing up meat last because then it might be on my hands, it's gonna be all over the cutting board, it just complicates things. So it makes way more sense if I just do it at the very end. Nothing fancy or special, just slicing some chicken. However you want it to look in your pad thai is exactly how you should slice it now. Guys, you're honestly going to love how this is going to make your week come together. Like dinner time, it's not a very long period of your day when you think about it, but it's a pivotal point in your day. And if your dinner is rushed or your dinner is stressful, then your evening is going to be more stressful too. You can carry that with you into the next day, and then that carries into your dinner, and well, the cycle just continues, where if you take some of that stress out of your day, you take that stress out of your dinner, you take that worry out of it, what does that look like? Then you're just bringing more peace into your evening. You're bringing, maybe you're having a better sleep, maybe you're bringing that into your next day. It's kind of the time of day it can make the rest of your day, it can influence the rest of your week. And that's why so many times it's so easy to opt for takeout, because we're tired at dinner. But takeout is hard when you have a restricted diet. There's always risk involved. Usually it's more expensive. You get less choice, less variety. You want to make sure that you're eating healthy as well. And meal planning like this, it's taking control of your diet. It's taking control of your health. You're never going to regret investing this time in yourself. All right, chicken. Let's get in there. So, chicken is all sliced up. That's one less gross thing I gotta do for my meal. Guys, we are done. We are done all of our prep for the week, unless you can come up with something else. As always, go through your fridge, see if there's anything that needs to be used. If you can use it into one of these dishes this week as a side dish or incorporate it into a dish, process it now. If you cannot, then process it and put it in the freezer so that you can use it for a future recipe and save yourself a little bit of time and money in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the meals this week, and I will see you next week for another week. Bye-bye.